right now I'm going to show you how to put the first coat on. I know he's already got his scorpion green on, but I'm not really totally happy with it, so I'm probably going to redo it just for you guys in the camera. Also because I've just gone out and sprayed the ones I was assembling you earlier, because I'm awesome like that. And I can't really bring them in while they're wet to show you because I look like an idiot, especially since I told you not to do that like 5 seconds ago. The brushes I'm going to be using for this, I only actually own 4, and there are probably some professionals looking at this video right now going, what is he doing? But as I said, I'm probably like a 6 out of 10 on the scale of professionalism. You know, like average, even if just above. So these are the 4 brushes I use. The base coating brush. You know, these are all Citadel brushes, by the way. You can just pick them up at your Games Workshop or hobby store. They're usually fairly inexpensive. Standard brush, which is orange, and yeah, they're color coded with the ends. I probably should have mentioned that. Base coat, red. Standard brush, orange. So obviously the next one is going to be yellow for my fine detail brush. And this one, this is kind of a misappropriation. I call this a short bust brush. It's basically a brush with the end cut off. Citadel call it the stippling brush. It's for stippling really, and I'm not going to be doing any stippling in this tutorial, so we can kind of forget about this one. Just going to put it back on my table there. So yeah, first brush we use, not that one, base coating brush. There it is. Right. This is basically for your leg work. You don't need to do anything. You don't need to do anything drastically detailed. It's just detailed. That's not even a word. Going crazy. So yeah, you need your palette for this, so you can see mine. You can see I've already painted a few of these. Load your brush up with scorpion green, just like that. Chuck it on the palette. Then, now I tend to do this with my finger. Lots of people use the brush and just spoon it on there. I don't know why. I always like to be precise. You don't have to be as precise as this. It's just my weird little OCD. So, like 2 or 3 drops of water are what you want, and that's 2 drops there. That should do just fine. Mix it all in. You should have like a 2-to-1 ratio of water to paint. This is kind of what I use. It's really runny, really simple. It's going to slip into all the cracks. And then you need a fairly steady hand, but don't worry too much if you go over the lines, because mistakes like that are easily fixed in a later stage. Just paint off across all the fleshy parts of your model. So I'm doing the head, the arms, the legs, and that exposed strip of back you can see just there. This is probably the part which is in the most danger of becoming boring, because all I'm doing is sat here painting, and really once you've seen me do one brush stroke, if you've seen me do them all, I don't tend to vary very much. So, you know, either I'll fast forward through these bits of the reviews, or if, you know, you want to put questions, I know I said I wouldn't read them, but I might make an exception if they're like questions or stuff that you want me to talk about in the comments page. And if no one puts questions in there, I'll probably just put music to it. But I warn you, it'll be music from my iTunes library, so you'll probably get some of my weird taste in music right there. And we don't want that, do we? So yeah. So all we're doing is brushing that on there, and then once it's on there, we just put, oh wait, I missed a hand here. There we go. I said missed a hand, not missed a hand. Mr. Hand. And once that's done, put it to one side, leave it to dry, and in a minute, because that was the one I was planning on doing the bleach burn on, I'll restart the camera and I'll show you the next step. So the paint's now dry enough for me to continue, so I will. Now, Bleach bone time. Now, this is the paint I use the most of in any application, so if you're wondering whether you could break into my house and be some kind of mad scientist and cripple me from painting anything else ever again, steal this paint. I use it so much. Like, quite often I will use it instead of skull white if I'm trying to get a certain tone. Just a personal preference, you don't have to copy me exactly. This is just one I use. Like I said earlier, this is basically just going to be me. Oh, whoops! Forgot to add some water. I'll do it with the brush this time, just so you can see like how you're supposed to do it if you don't have a massive OCD for putting just the right amount of water in. So yeah, nice and watery. Splish splash. Just want it kind of wet. Wettest of the wet paint, because you're probably going to be covering this over later, so you don't need to worry about it being. Don't need to worry about seeing black underneath it. As you can see, I really haven't here. Yeah, just a rough kind of wash. The point of base coating is that it gets into all the cracks. That's why you want to keep it as wet as possible. Because if you're just going to put another thing over the top anyway, you want to make sure that the stuff over the top actually has something to be over the top of. That may have been a bit cryptic and meaningless, but you know, you get my point. You can see there, that isn't actually covering it totally. You can still see the black under it, but it is getting into the cracks and stopping the model from looking really strange. That's actually a technique in itself. Like if you wanted to paint Nightbringer or some really twisted chaos demon with a color scheme which is really bright in the recesses and then really dark everywhere else, this is probably the best way to do it, by dry brushing your dark color and blending your really light color and getting it to drop into the cracks like that. You know, I don't know any majorly big techniques. These are all the really simple ones. So again, if you're an expert and you're screaming at me for doing things the wrong way, I do apologize, but this probably isn't for you. This is just you know, a quick one for first timers, second timers, people who people who want to know some really quick techniques for just getting the painting done and looking at a really good table standard. I'm going to reiterate, these are not show standard models. I can't paint show standard. I'm not that good. So you won't be seeing any of these on display at Golden Demon or anything, because again, I am not that good, and I have no delusions as to the fact that I am. So I'm just painting all the bleach bone bits here. You know, you should be able to get a fairly good amount of reach with your brush, but no, that's about it. Just the beak, the quills, the underbelly thing there, and his arm guard. Just with a wash of bleach bone there. Let's hold that up so you can see. There you go. So yeah, I'm not sure if my hands are blocking. I do apologize if they are, because they are big giant hands, but yeah, I'm trying my best here. So put that to one side to dry. Where's my drying area? Over here. Oh, it is now, anyway. So, because we can't wait for that one to dry, because I know how impatient you can be, you might be already have 2 or 3 windows open. See, I saw you, I know your habits. Then I've actually got, here's one I made earlier right here, which I'll move on to next. And for this part, I'm going to start doing the leather. I actually lied a little bit earlier when I said I darkened the Graveyard Earth with Chaos Black. I actually forgot I did it with Devlin Mud to see what would happen, and it isn't actually that bad. It waters it down, so I don't need to add any extra water, and it kind of makes this really leathery looking brown. So again, it's an earth tone. I tend to do my earth tones first, like in lieu of the big bright colour, because it just looks a little bit more natural for some reason. But yeah, some of that, this is what the little pots on my little palette are for, so just drop that in there. Then